Hey, so I'm still alive. I watched, we watched the Sheep Detectives. It was a wholesome, family-friendly movie. There's a guy with gray hair and a beard. So, yeah. So, yeah, I liked it. It was really cute. I missed the first 7 minutes or so, which basically introduced all the sheep. So I missed like the main introductory of like, here's this. But everything else I thought was good and cute, and it did have a twist at the end that I was not expecting. So yeah, it was... Overall, I thought it was cute and good. So yeah, I liked it. And just seeing like the characters seeing the sheep, I liked it. Seeing the sheep was especially cute. So what happened was that, so I say especially with the sheep, is because at one point, so like we all know in the movie the sheep can talk. Well, in this case, like the townspeople, or at least they're talking to each other, but the townspeople, they don't understand them. They just hear bah. So what ended up happening was that they were talking to each other, and then, no, sorry, what is this, that the woman, she's arrested because people think she killed her dad, because basically, aside from, what was it? Yeah, so aside from her inheriting the sheep, her dad sold a patent for some kind of sheep disease, I guess. Or basically the tongue comes out or whatever. So because of that, he had like $30 million or so. Well, it turns out he also had 2 biological kids who he decided, I'm going to search for these kids. And one was a male, one was a female. The male was adopted over in South Africa. The female was adopted over in America. And so the twist at the end was basically the son was the murderer, and he drafted a new will where the dad went ahead and like, or not the dad, but the son killed the dad and willed the money over to the daughter. And if the daughter is incriminated and arrested, then the next of kin automatically gets the money, which was the son in this case. Well, what ends up happening is that they discover that was the old will. The old will, not the old will. They discover that it's actually the fake will. The actual will actually had her inheriting the sheep farm. And then he inherited, I think, a plot of land. And then a charity actually received the $30 million. And so that was the twist at the end. And it's like, oh, the son isn't even in town. Like, it was interesting because she's, like, during the reading of the will, like, she's talking on the phone, and I was like, where's the son? Like, because turns out that some of the people that were mentioned, one of them was in the will. Sorry, the people that were mentioned in the will, one of them was actually the son. So anyways, what ends up happening, the sheep actually figures it out who the son is. And like basically it was the son that murdered the dad. And what happened was that the daughter was arrested and in the local jail. And at one point, man, my phone's at 5%. Shoot, and I need the battery in order to like, oh wait, I know what I can do or attempt to do. what ends up happening is that the dad is arrested, or not the dad. What is that she's arrested, and then they actually have the sheep go ahead and get into the okay, so this is all right. They actually have the daughter yeah, what happens is that they actually have the daughter arrested, and she's in jail. And what the sheep do, so it's like they consider her the world's smartest sheep. She's just a smart sheep, and she figures out who, like for example, Hugh Jackman's character, he goes ahead and he reads them a mystery, what was it, a mystery? Yeah, a mystery, a novel. I have a headache, so a novel mystery, like, every night. And so during this time, like, one of the ladies, she figures out every single time, like, who the murderer is within a very short amount of time. So what ends up happening later on is that, so there's that what ends up happening is that she's arrested, she's in jail, and the black sheep, or basically it's called a winter sheep in this case, the black sheep ends up going, is small enough to go through this window, and the smartest sheep and the black sheep go into this area of the window. They get in there, and like the head sheep goes ahead and tells the black sheep, okay, do this and do that. Tells the smallest sheep, hey, this is what you need to do, so do this and do that. So she goes ahead and does it, but you see it from the point of view of the woman who's in jail, and you just hear like bah, bah, and then like the big sheep being like bah, bah, and she's like, what is going on? And you see like the lamb like drawing lines with her hooves, and like it's like, what in the world? So like you see her doing this of just drawing lines with her hooves, and you're just like, what is going on? And you don't see what she's drawing, you just know that she has paint on her legs in order to create whatever. So you're just like, what is going, you're like just so confused. And then after the sheep go ahead and that she, you know, created the lines, it shows basically the daughter and then the dad, and then next to that, after that, you see like the daughter, the dad, you see the what was it, where the dad, you know, had a daughter and a son, it draws a line to the other one, and it's like, okay, what in the world? Like, what is going on? So like, you don't see that until the next morning. So what it is that the daughter, she like looks at this happening where the baby lamb is like bah, bah, and like the adult lamb is like bah, bah, and like talking to each other, and then the baby lamb like leaves. And then she's like, this town is so weird. Like, after they leave, and I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. So like later on, she's taken, like the police officer, he's like, every time something exciting happens, it's always those sheep that are involved. And he's like, it's really weird. And so later on, he comes inside the jail and sees this paint where it like leads from one or the other, and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, listen, I don't know what's going on. I just know it has to do with the sheep. And I think they were talking to each other. So it's like, it was hilarious. Anyways, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Bye.